Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next segment of X's4 Podcast. I am Rod. You can find me at Rod Kamadal on Twitter and Instagram.
And I am Steve, and you can find me at Howdy Duda on Twitter.
Hey, it's Nathan. You can find me online at Twitter and Instagram at Dazzler AOA. Yay!
And you can find me, Nico, online at Twitter and Instagram at Nico Action. That's NICOACTION. And we hope you survive the experience. I can't believe it's been like literally 200 episodes, almost to the number, since I've had to cover an issue of Defenders. So old familiar shoes, ladies and gentlemen, and every non-binary friend in between. This is old familiar shoes.
And these are new shoes for me because I've never read a single Defenders comic book except for this one. So, but that is what we're talking about today, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. We're talking about the Marvels, the magic, and no mutants in this one. But that's okay. We'll get mutants later. So it is Defenders, not without the Z. It is stories by Al Ewing and Javier Rodriguez. Also inks by Alvaro Lopez and Javier Rodriguez again. And letters by VC's Joe Caramagna.
If I can just jump in with one thing, though.
Yeah.
So something that makes me so happy, and it's not a Defenders thing in the least. Now, okay, so you guys might have noticed by now, I love to dress the part, and I was a little torn. Do I dress as Ghost Rider or do I dress as Daredevil? They're both classic Defenders. Do I dress as Beast because I have a Beast cosplay? Like, who do I put on to be a Defender? And I went with Ghost Rider because I knew Daredevil was going to come up anyway. One of the things I love to point out is that the brilliant Javier Rodriguez had earlier work at Marvel in his career on the incredible Daredevil by Mark Waid. Now, Daredevil by Mark Waid originally started out with two incredible art teams, one head up by the incredible Marcos Martin. Now, Marcos Martin did 3 issues before departing the series, which was kind of a bummer. But what is really interesting is if you take a look, the recap art here in Defenders is by Marcos Martin. So it's kind of a really lovely rubber band back to those early days of Daredevil by Waid, where the two of them worked at different parts on the same run using that same hyper-colorized kind of magic throwback Golden Age noir style. So it's just really cool to see people doing what they do so well still together like a decade later.
Exactly. Thank you for that historical knowledge, Nico. We can always count on Nico to give the historical knowledge. He is our encyclopedia. Him and Nathan, and honestly, Arturo and Josh too. Basically, all of X's for Pod except for me.
Well, no, you just have a very different. You have a very different knowledge base. We trust no one to take it to space the way we trust you and Juan to take it to space.
I know. I'm just making a joke, but I am so glad that this is written by also Al Ewing because I mean, he, like you said, he does space really well, and like this is kind of in space because of where we go later in the book. We're going in space, so I love that. Now, as a new person to Defenders, I've never read a Defenders comic. I've read all the characters that have been in Defenders. I have never read them together. So as a new person, I don't have any reference, but y'all do. So after reading this first issue, what did y'all think? I know it's probably early, it's the first issue, but does it hold up to the Defenders magic? Or do you feel like you're reading something different? Like obviously different, but like does this have the same feel as the past stories in a sense?
Hellcat's not there, so I'm kind of like, what? No, but seriously, like, it's, you know what? It really reads a lot like Super Secret Defenders, which is exactly what he mentioned from the card thing. And that's the vibe I'm getting more from this book so far. Like the old school Defenders, right? So initially they were brought together and then they had to separate because of a curse that wasn't a real curse. But then the new Defenders formed, which was more of a team instead of the non-team, which had the whole event where like in the early Defenders where it was a defender for a day where they like had like really cool guest defenders. So like it's got some of that feel. I'm going to see how it goes. I want to see how Cloud is going to be in this run because New Defenders Cloud was amazing. And I'm so glad that the character is brought back and I want to see what they are going to do, that character.
Nice. What about you, Steven?
I'm very excited for this run right off the first bat. This was an electrifying first issue. I enjoy everything I read by Al Ewing. It's funny, you mentioned that Al Ewing does a lot of space, and that's true. But there's one other thing that Al Ewing really does, and it's mysticism and the occult and magic. Everything that I've loved that he's done, which is generally all of it, has had something or other to do with Kabbalah or the tarot or, Hermeticism. And it's always just very thrilling for me to read. And this issue was absolutely exactly what I hoped for and what I expected.
Nice. Yeah, I have to agree too. I'm glad you brought that up. Ewing does do a lot with magic. I've always liked what he kind of explores and kind of furthers Marvel's magic, where other writers kind of get a little scared of doing it because magic is like a fickle thing and never works out. So it's hard to write sometimes. So people are like, let me back away and go more grounded. But Al Ewing's not afraid to just go out there and be kind of crazy with it. And I love that.
I feel like sometimes Marvel writers get into this space where they're like, well, it has to be a little sci-fi because fantasy is silly. But we're reading superhero comics, so I can't see why anybody wouldn't be brave and bold as Al Ewing is every time, swinging out of the park.
I'm completely with you on that. I feel like, especially when you're dealing with the Defenders, you're talking about like OPAF and it's all capitals and there's like light bulbs around each of the letters. It's very 1992 marquee a la Radio City. And I feel like, when you think about the Defenders, if you're thinking like classic Defenders, there was that hysterical, almost parody satire Defenders mini from like 2006-ish, which was a lot of fun. And that featured Strange, Hulk, and Surfer, and I think Namor, right? And, that's such a fun team. But like, that's kind of the classic Defenders for me. Any other version of the Defenders, I think of as very affectionate pretenders, but like, you're not the Defenders. I have no qualms with the Daredevil team. And that's probably the reason I didn't go with the Daredevil costume, because the Bendis iteration of Defenders was birthed of a desire to have a structured amount of corporate synergy, right? A little for you is a number of years ago, Marvel was trying to get a new book off the ground, and it was out of the 50 state initiative after Civil War. And they did all of this amazing promotional art and they launched it, and it was called The Champions, California's one and only team. And then they found out at that point they had kind of fucked up with that trademark and they temporarily did not own The Champions. So they had to change the name of the book to The Order. And that's where we got the incredible The Order, featuring Henry Hellrung and Pepper Potts, one of Matt Fraction's most incredible early works at Marvel, before he would go on to write his own run of the Defenders. Now, his run of the Defenders is a little bit more my speed Defenders. The Concordance engine is just so fucking good. And anytime the Dodsons deign to draw your book, it's like, so I was in a pretty good place with that title. Sucks that it only ran 12 issues, I think. Got a little nod here. Red Harpy was a member of a team that no longer exists in this reality. Oh, right? So it was a little bit of a nice touch back to that. I really enjoyed this issue in terms of what it means to be a Defenders book. We'll see if it holds true on the promise, but I am here for it.
Nice. I don't really know what I guess the promise would be. Is it going to be like the other ones, correct?
Just something that has, I don't even need it to be like the other ones, because I'm a big fan of whatever comes next should be next, right? I am not beholden to the 05 X-Men. I love that Grant Morrison said, hey, here's your new 05 with new X-Men. And now Hickman is saying, here's your new 05, because like, I think we all kind of go to, in a lot of ways, that cover of House of X-Men #1, House of X-Men, have a good night, I gotta go. House of X #1, where, it's the 5 of them coming out of the thing. I mean, I wish Storm was there, but hey, that's another conversation for another day. So I don't need it to be classic Defenders. I think I need it to have the vibe of, you're also OP, what the fuck you doing here, right? I need that kind of, you better have a good reason to bring this team together, right?
I think in this first issue, it has already fulfilled the major promise for me of what a Defenders comic needs to be, which is a non-team of absurdly powerful and often strange and terrifying people pulled together against their will.
Yeah. I mean, and look at the first thing you're battling is like a younger Galactus. Yeah. So it's like, of course, they need all this power together just to defeat them. I don't know what other entity they could really fight other than maybe like
Galactus's mom.
Galactus's mom. Like I don't know. Maybe like a really powerful Thanos, or maybe like a really tall Dormammu. But Dormammu doesn't really do anything, so never mind.
It's always like
already.
It's always like, one of the things that I think is really interesting about Avengers is the Avengers are always trying to stop the world from ending, but it always feels like the Defenders are trying to stop reality from caving in, right? So like it always feels to me like the Defenders are trying to hold the walls of reality in place. So, this issue with all of its amazing twists and turns, I think, Omnimax, which, I can't even how excited I am. But one of the things that I thought that this book really captured right away in terms of, what is the promise of it? It really comes down to this final page. I have so many screens. It's so hard to make it clear. But, this final image, I think one of the things that it says to me is, the Masked Raider is literally inviting you into a world of shadow up his skirt, which I really love. And, it goes for that Batman iconography. There's something that should be a little bit pulpy about Defenders, right? Defenders always should have that kind of like pulpy feel. It should be a little silly. Like you said, Steve, I love that.
It should be high camp.
Like high camp. Yeah. I should be having a good fucking time.
Yeah.
And I would agree.
Give me Hellcat and Hulk's weird relationship. Like if you can translate that somehow in this comic, yes. Like, oh my God.
I think the most promising thing about this is it feels a little bit like it's not exactly picking up from the Best Defense, the previous crossover kicked off by Al Ewing in the pages of Immortal Hulk, but it is it has a little bit of the vibe from that, and I already can feel that I'm going to love it. But that's kind of a given the author and the artist. Also, I'd love to talk about some of the art in this book.
Yes, I mean the art. I feel like this is another book that is like every page. I feel like I could take it out and just frame it and have it in my house and be like, "This is what comic book is,"
Yes.
Yes.
Can I tell you what sold me on this book? It was the first 2 to 3 pages, like the opening pages of this book sold me completely. We open with the 4 elements of magic: the staff, the pentacle, the cup, and the sword, surrounding the reverse magician, Dr. Strange himself, as he pulls the card of the reverse magician. And we launch into the explanation of the card that he's reading and what it bodes for his day or what he's thinking about in relation to the card. But a thing that drew my eye just immediately was that the back of Dr. Strange's tarot cards feature an Ouroboros in the shape of an 8 for infinity. And each 8 encloses an octagram, an 8-pointed star, also a sign of infinity, but also a sign of new birth, 7 being the number of completion, perfection, 8 being the new start, the 8th day of the week being the first of the next. And then you open the next page, and on the very next page, you see 8th Cosmos, the magician, just summing up everything that I've been thinking about with the very first page opening before I even flipped it, bringing a lot together. The 8th Cosmos, of course, being the one after Secret Wars, after Jonathan Hickman destroyed the universe with his bare hands and rebooted it. And
I think he had
6th Cosmos later.
He had a little help from a few artists who did a lot of the explodering, but I'm with you.
That's just the legend I've been told. Yeah, I'm sure that there's a lot more involved there. I think Dr. Doom had a little bit to do with it. But Doctor Strange featured so heavily in that, and I know that the rebirth of the Cosmos had a lot to do with what Al Ewing was doing, and I believe the Ultimates, or was it New Avengers? I'm sure it was between the two.
I think Hickman was still on New Avengers at that point. Yeah. I think that was Al Ewing over on Ultimates.
Yeah.
Yes, Ultimates. Thank you. And just the work that both Javier Rodriguez and Al Ewing do in the first page and a half to 2 pages to convince me that this book is going to think very deeply about meaning and significance on the page is astonishing. Even just the beautiful little bit of the Masquerader using this like triplicate hexagram Shield of David, Seal of Solomon thing to defend in the next panel really got me. There's so much going on with it. And we were talking a little bit about the colors in the chat before we got on here, but as you brought up, they're using this 4-color printing process that's very callback to the Silver Age. But the thing that that drew my mind so much was when what's his name, Zota, I think, when Zota's doing his little ritual to go back in time to meet backwards Genesis with his little infinity symbol on his belt, matching the infinity symbol on our reverse magician. But when he's doing the ritual, the smoke, the 4 pillars of smoke that are rising from his elements of creation are the 4 colors of the 4-color printing process in order. There's the cyan, the magenta, the yellow, and the key, which is the black smoke. And I thought that was one of the most brilliant uses.
That's what I was saying. That was legitimately
on the page.
That was legitimately what I was saying. That's the surprint color because it's printed in steps, and that's what I was saying.
Yes.
Yeah, it was so exciting,
so beautiful. I'm glad that you hooked onto that as well. That man, it's just such a small thing, but it convinces me that these two know what they are doing. Yeah.
Wow.
And the use of the tarot is always exciting to me.
I did not get any of that when I first read this. I got the tarot card, obviously it's right there, but I didn't get the in-depth of the back of the tarot cards. I was like, oh, that's pretty. I love that.
Yeah, I had to reread it for sure, and check back with the 78 degrees of wisdom.
And to dial back into the color choices for a second with the surprint, one of the things that I love is that we're talking about the interplay between Ewing picking up Hickman's balls and running them a little bit further, and who here wouldn't want to grab Hickman's balls? And one of the things that's so interesting about his use of the surprint is, especially if we're talking about a book that deals with the reality and the formation of the Marvel Universe, one of the big things that Marvel 1000 tied back into was Hickman and Weaver's ode to never coming out S.H.I.E.L.D. And the Promethean Man featured so heavily in the pages of S.H.I.E.L.D. by Hickman and Weaver. So the idea that we're seeing the Promethean Man broken down into the 4-color printing process as a meta statement on what this book might reveal about the Marvel Universe in terms of what we understand Masquerader to represent in Marvel 1000. I'm just very fascinated by the willingness to touch into meta levels of storytelling that these companies are going into lately, whether it's Doomsday Clock and, Manhattan being like, so here's what I did, or it's this. I'm really fascinated by the interplay of legend and legend makers right now in mainstream comics.
Wow.
And it doesn't beat you over the head with it and tell you that it's Shakespeare.
No.
Agreed.
Yes. It just knows how good it is, and it just keeps doing a good job, which is something I appreciate from a metafictional comic.
Love how it really harkens back to the cool... I love how it harkens back to the cool, 60s strange comics where they did everything, so hugely, metaphysically. You're like, what am I reading? And then, the more you know about it, you're like... But yeah, love it.
So good.
I feel like I'm in class and learning so much, because I definitely got concept when I first read this comic book, but you're all like, this has this levels and it's deep in the Marvel Universe, and it's the color palette is this, talking about the start of all comic books. I'm just like, is it? Let me look. Oh wait. Just I love it though. That's why we have these discussions.
It could also just be funny books.
No.
It could just be funny books.
It could be. It could just be funny books, but it's not. It's more than just that, and it's amazing that we come together and we figure this out together and we deconstruct it. And I just think it's really fascinating. I'm glad y'all are so smart.
Oh.
And if I may, one last thing about the art that definitely had me certainly, I want to say pleasantly surprised, but I guess that doesn't make sense on a book by Javier. I was specifically impressed by the value of color story as a narrative telling device here, One of the things is that, you know, when you want something to feel frightening, you put in more intense and shadow. And when you want something to feel very enclosed and sort of claustrophobic, you put in a lot of white with a lot of very small, tight body around it. And like, you know, there's things you do. And the deftness of the color work was so powerfully transformative of the line work. Not that this line work was by any means less than spectacular. It was spectacular, but this was line work designed for color to tell part of the story. And that's something that I feel like we're not seeing as much. Now, I don't want to say not seeing as much at Marvel right now, but something we talk a lot about on this show is that we currently live in the age of the penciler colorist, which is, of course, what we're facing here, right? Because Javier is a colorist by trade, or was, and now is so much more. I never mean to be limiting, but damn, the man knows color, you know? So I feel like the color story here is even best expressed by that pinup page from the end with the color transition from the oranges into the cream and then flush into that purple and black. It really tells a visually dynamic color story that reminds me that this book is meant to be a breadth of what we're all looking for from it. Rod, you know, you're coming in with less experience, but there's something for you in it here. Steve, you're coming in it for the quirky magic. There's something in it for you here. Like, there's something for everybody, and that's birthed of a powerful color story that invites the artist and the reader to have a conversation through expectation of color. And I think that's really a spectacular treat here.
I love how just like the overall tone of it too sets it up. Just the style and the colors that he used sets it up for a vibe. Like, I expect the really subversive, like really deep subversive story coming out of it. Like you got in those like weird offbeat 60s Teen Titans. It really reminds me of that. Plus, like I said, early Doctor Strange, which was so mind-blowing for Silver Age comics. Like, but it's really, it's setting the tone for something like, yeah, I would love the campiness, but like this is setting something serious and out of this world.
Yeah, I would agree that it's definitely it kind of, because I've read quite a bit because I love magic, and I've read quite a bit of older Doctor Strange's solo work, and this did bring me back to how it used to be. Very like, you know, a lot of panels of him talking in his head and explaining the magic and saying like he can't do this, but he's gonna do it anyway. And because he says that a lot, he's like, I can't do this. This is gonna end the world, but man, I gotta do it anyway, and the world might end, but then they'll thank me anyway for it.
This issue.
It was just in this issue.
It's like Strange before it became insufferable. So
yeah.
The cost always seems to be Strange's morals.
A little bit more. Yeah. I'm like, do you have any morals left to give as an offering? I don't believe so. But he keeps having it. His ego apparently keeps getting sacrificed too. I'm
that was hilarious. I had to sacrifice my ego. Now look what my hubris have done. Sir, you didn't do a good job.
Right. But Rod, he does have a big ego.
Rod, I have a question for you, actually. Speaking of, you know, the character has a big ego. Speaking of characters with big egos, Silver Surfer has played such a dynamic role in the space stuff you've been reading.
Go with Rod.
Right. I mean, that's why I was like, hey, guys, I'm not coming for Rod. I need to be clear about this.
I know. I was like, okay.
It's like,
so
wow. I understood it, but I heard it.
I just needed to protect myself.
Go on.
Make sure everyone knows. No, we're good.
Sorry.
I just need to protect myself.
You're fine. You're fine.
You know, sourcing back to the pages of his Guardians and then into the pages of Silver Surfer Black, returning in a dynamic way for King in Black. How did Silver Surfer feel here for you? Because I felt like this was very in line with kind of classic Defenders Surfer. Not that he had a whole lot of dialogue, but, you know, Surfer doesn't need a whole lot of dialogue to read like Surfer, right? Not that it didn't feel like Donny Cates' Surfer in any way. Not that there was a disconnect, but I don't know how it feels to be primarily familiar with that version. How did this Surfer read for you?
I've read a lot of Surfer, and I feel like this Surfer after King in Black, he's becoming himself again because he's not infected with Noel's like darkness anymore. He's not Surfer Black or Surfer Black anymore. He's just himself. So he's coming back into himself again. You know, he's being the mysterious, tortured soul that can't be happy, but it needs to defend the universe because of reasons.
Because
that's
Norrin
just
Rad
his
will
MO.
always chase
Yeah.
after Shala Ball. It'll just
Right.
always happen.
Oh, he's dark and mysterious, and he's also kind of sexy in like a really weird way. At least to me, I don't know.
He's like sexy sad boy, like not like
Sexy sad
Colossus,
boy.
who's like just sexy but sad.
Yeah. And they're both silver, so like it works.
Speaking of people who are like kind of not quite human but kind of human, I was talking to Kevo, and I said something to him about how the character came in, and then, you know, Vision got all charged up, and then, you know, he was like supervision, and Kevin was like, wait, he was under whose supervision? And I was like, I don't know how that's never happened.
Wait,
and it made
Vision?
Actually, it was that story in particular.
I have this open right here, which is like one of my favorite things of the Vision, even though he's in the background, is just him being stoic. It's in the background. It's his chest puffed out, and he's just like, I am here, and I will fight whoever this creature is, because I don't think he knows who Betty Banner is, at least not as Red Harpy. So yeah, I love that. I think that's the Silver Surfer. That's truly who he is, and I feel like he's getting back to his normal self again since he's not, you know, infected.
I really
know
like.
a team. I'm sorry. I was gonna say, you know, a team's crazy powerful when Red Harpy is the character that you're like, oh, she's the least OP'd out of all of them. Like, and she's like crazy powerful.
She is crazy powerful, and mysterious. I really liked that the Surfer ended up being Judgment, not only because the obvious, you know, Herald of Galactus deal.
I've come to kill your planet.
Herald of God, yeah, death of everything, the end of the world, birth of the new. But also because, you know, like the world is the card that follows Judgment, and here it's reversed. So the World Devourer is what follows the Surfer. That's just it's so clever, just beautiful.
Yeah. I did have another question for everyone, because when I first was gonna start, before I read this book, I saw the characters, and none of these characters have really been together. I mean, except for Silver Surfer and Doctor Strange, and I guess Cloud too, but it's been a while, you know.
A while.
And I was like, it's been a long time. And I was like, how are they all going to come together? What is this going to happen? And then when they did the tarot cards, I was like, that's ingenious, because then you just be like, it's because of magic. And then you just throw it away. Like, that's why they're here. You don't really have to explain it that much. I mean, they did, but like after this, you don't have to keep explaining why they're there together. They're just there because of the magic. The magic chose them. Now,
started to get flashbacks at Ten of Swords there.
Right? It's very flashback at Ten of Swords. This did it much quicker. We didn't have to do 10 issues of it to get here. So no shade. A little bit.
I'd have liked 10 issues of
that. A little bit shade. A little bit shade.
Pacing.
Constructive shade. But what did y'all think of how the team got formed together? Did y'all like the torrent? I mean, we love how it was drawn, but did we appreciate how the team got together that way?
I shall cast my shade of knowledge. And, you know, I think the truth is always a little bit between the first and the 40th drink, right? So I feel like there is something really great about magic because it's magic, just work with it. It's magic. You know, I feel like if Doctor Strange would just be sort of like super gay scene queen, like we would be way more into it, because he would be like, it's magic. It's like you could just work with it a little bit more. But instead he's so straight and dry about it, and it's magic. You know what I mean? Wow. The magic of it is fine for me. I feel like I don't need the Defenders to come together for any reason other than they all found themselves in the same room. But I love that if they were going to use a device, they used a device exquisitely and with such care, you know, that if you're going to take the time to use up, because this was a lot of setup for issue 2, which, because the setup was done so beautifully, Ewing earned my trust, you know, like, so it was a good setup. You know, probably not how I would have expected it, but certainly an outcome I'm very happy with.
Good. Awesome. I mean, I feel the same. I did not expect it, but I liked it a lot because I like torrent cards as well, just like X of Swords. So I'm like, yay, we're bringing it back.
Yeah,
What did you think about
I
it,
ate that shit up. I ate that shit up. I went through my Rachel Pollack book. I was like, what are the meanings? I went and read every chapter again. It was wonderful. Lovely journey from me from Wednesday to now.
Well, I mean, you're the sorcerer supreme of the X's for podcast, apparently. Like, look
This
at your
is
amazing
not a
outfit.
costume. This is just what I wear.
That's just your outfit. You just showed up. You're like, hey guys.
Just
like,
with my
whatever.
collar.
I love that. What about you, Nathan?
I love that it was, if you're going to use a hokey device, maybe, I love that it was a hokey device that made sense within Strange in the Defenders universe. He'd done it already. It makes sense. Like, I like the team that he drew. Like, obviously they like geared it certain ways, but you know, like, it would have been cool. It was cool for them to explain how his enhanced level of powers was able to draw these even more powered champions than he did when he was doing super secret defenders, not super defenders. That's like totally different thing.
Yeah, I would agree. I like that we get, Red Harpy still, because I feel like if we didn't get Red Harpy in this, we probably wouldn't have seen her for a while. Unfortunately, it's just how it goes.
Ewing is so good about using his toys with a fairness, like something we were. But by the way, I am coming for you, Steve. I need to tell you, you made me nearly like spit pre-workout all over everything while I was editing. When I get to, I don't want to say it like an insult, but it was kind of Jason Aaron of him. I was stunned into fucking silence because Jason Aaron's famously my favorite writer, but I don't think you're wrong. That was a really interesting read on it in a way.
I do read a lot of Jason Aaron.
In a way that I was so pleasantly stunned by. But, there was something sort of almost level up about it that was sort of kind of funny. It was kind of like, we're gonna make this team in a way that does feel kind of Jason Aaron-y. Like, there was a sense of bigger and better, and something I feel Ewing does really well is he plays with his toys in a very Aaron-y way. Once Aaron gets his love for a character, Brew is still showing up in the pages of Avengers. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I feel like, Ewing was never going, or when Abwalit showed back up after Original Sin in the pages of Mighty Thor, like number 20 or something, right? I feel like when Ewing shows love for a character, that character is safe forever. And so I think you're right, Rod, if he hadn't had this opportunity to load Red Harpy in, it might have been a while, but I feel confident in being like, we were getting Red Harpy again. It's just nice to know it's in a good book.
Yeah. If it wasn't here, it would have been in Gamma Flight. If it wasn't there, it would have been in Guardians. I knew it was going to come back, and I'm very happy to see Red Harpy every time she's here.
Red Harpy is like the best part of Immortal Hulk. Like,
she is my princess. Absolutely wonderful, super cool.
Like that last issue where they I was like, yes, that was perfection. Like, yeah.
I do love that we're getting her again, and this is a book where she can kind of just go nuts, which is great because we saw her kind of like give her power in Immortal Hulk, but it's Immortal Hulk's book, so she's not the focus. She doesn't get the main, I guess, fighting scenes or main focus as much. But this one, I feel like she'll get a little bit more because now she's not even with Bruce Banner. She doesn't have to follow Bruce Banner or anything like that. This is just her in this group. So she gets to tell like her point of view on some things, hopefully.
Absolutely, what she deserves.
You got the best lines in Immortal Hulk, though. Like,
and then when we get Cloud, which I really love because I know we want more trans representation that isn't intergalactic, but I'm glad the trans characters that are made so far are getting put back in the comic books after so many years, and they're getting more represented. And they're getting focused, like they're getting more developed as well. We haven't seen much of Cloud yet, but it's also just the first issue, and I'm sure we're going to get more. So I'm really excited about that and what that could birth from this.
So that sort of worries me, Cloud coming, because Cloud is a sentient nebula, right? So
Yeah.
Cloud really has no gender. So
yeah.
I worry that the spell that Strange used, and I hope they don't do this, but I worry that the spell that Strange used locked Cloud in the what was her name?
Form?
But the female form instead of in the transition, like either being able to bounce back and forth between it. Even when you go back to the New Defenders run they showed up in, there was some problematic representation, especially around the weird crush Bobby Drake had on her form, but
we don't talk about it.
Form.
We don't talk about it.
I didn't know about that.
He's gay. We don't talk about it. He's gay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, but like, yeah. So like you can read that now through a better light, where like he was self-hating at the time, so you know he was hiding it. So, but anyway, there was some problematic representation between the way they had their gender switch back and forth. So I trust Al Ewing to write it much better than it was back in that time. So I have faith that it's going to be done right.
That's actually my exact point. I literally, like, you know what? I don't want to be like, what are straight people? But like, you know, Al Ewing's like, hey guys, bye Ewing here. Just want to come through and be mad bye at all of you. Have a good day. Bye now sale. Bye guys. Right? So like, I don't want to be like, oh, he's bi. He'll do a great job. But like, you know, if a bi person offends within the community, we're all on the same Grindr and Scruff apps. You will run into us. You know better. Within the community knows to try a little bit harder. And you don't just come out in a big fucking way around Pride, the same month that the X-Men went, I'll kill your gays. You don't come out, you know, dicks a-blazing, I guess, if you're not going to pay good on your purchase. So, because he is bi. So I gotta run, but before I go,
all the puns.
Wow.
Think, you know, I came into Al Ewing being like, who the fuck is this guy that he's got every book? He's really earned my trust. He's an excellent storyteller. He cares a lot about character. If he's gonna do it, I at least trust him to do a big thing badly with the best heart.
Yep.
I trust him a little bit more with at least representation, if only because we got Dr. McGowan. That doesn't mean that Al can't fuck up, but I do have a little bit more trust in him because of that.
Well, and also Guardians of the Galaxy is really well done with
it's very gay.
With its very queer
the Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's very gay and bi and non-gender as well. So I'm pretty confident in it. You know,
I like this Al Ewing guy.
As we have to remind ourselves as well, you know, it's not just Al Ewing, it is the company he is working for. So just because he wants to do things or somebody else wants to do things doesn't mean it will be done. It doesn't mean it can't be changed and against their will.
Editorial.
So just to keep that in retrospect. But back to the main point, I guess, of Cloud is I love that. What's all the main points? But I just love that Cloud is here because I feel like Cloud being here opens the doorway for and Dr. McGavin. Is it McGavin?
McGowan.
McGowan?
Yep.
And
Arlene.
Okay.
Arlene.
Rose. Yeah. Okay.
That was stupid.
I was like, I can't pronounce words, so excuse me.
Words are hard, you guys.
Words are hard.
Like, think about it.
All of these.
We literally say that magic, saying words cleverly together, should create change. It should create portals. It should open doorways. The ability to string words together was so significant at one point. It was believed if you did it right, it would do magic. Words are power, and that's what this book is about. Words and symbology and iconography are powerful, and words can be hard. They can. Doctor Strange fucking said.
That's why I'm hoping this book does well with like a trans character being on the main team, because then more characters like that will be introduced and created, and then it won't be like, oh, look, there's a trans character. It'll just be the norm. I feel like we are on the road to that. So I hope we're on the road to that. Maybe this is leading to that. So let's all hope for the best. But I love where the team is at right now. I love that we're getting, fighting Omnimax, aka Galactus, as a baby form. They always say the baby snakes.
Galactus.
Yep. Previous
Galactus.
Galactus
of his universe.
Of his universe.
His planet.
Yes.
Because you're on Ty's homeworld, and that's his mom.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's his babe of a mom.
This is why
She's
y'all
so
are
here.
hot.
She's so
She
hot.
is. She's a babe.
Not to be
I
like,
can't see any of that.
It's a blue blur, but we get what she looks. Yeah, she looks
as a
awesome.
pan dude, this is my lady type. Dumb, thick, nice hair color shift in there. Yeah, nah, she my gal, right? And I especially love the sort of soft playfulness that they've included on the next cover for her. There is something really fascinating and soft about the presentation of his mom as this figure that they're all just kind of resting on. I think about
cradling them.
Yeah, I think about that cover for The Gale is Back, where the figures are resting on the letters, and like this is just them nuzzling her bosom, and it's not in a sexual way. It's not like in a
Right.
She's a giant and there's a tit. Like she's a woman and a mom, and these people are standing like, and then Masked Raider is the only one who is on her in an attack pose. The other three on her are a bit more paused, and of course Silver Surfer looks angry, because if he doesn't look angry, it's hard to tell he's not Iceman. So I feel like everything about it is this next cover has a lot of personality in a way that helps reinform the last pages of this issue. I think there is something really exciting and dynamic to be explored here based on the value of the significance of what we're seeing.
Yeah.
And the blurb underneath it gives me hope for the camp factor.
Yeah.
Galactus's mom has got it going on.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes.
Something that in like 2005 would have made me very worried about the quality of the series.
True.
But today from Al Ewing makes me genuinely excited for the camp coming up. Yeah.
We should always be grateful for Adam Schlesinger references when we get them.
Yeah, and I feel like today in media, especially with the more popularization of like Drag Race and all of these other things, camping. That's two different things.
Can we go
Camp
camping?
in media? We can go camping, not right now because we're all in different states.
But I have my axe.
One day. That is not real, Nico.
Okay.
We told you this.
You are
already.
not cutting wood down with that, okay?
No, you can't
We'll see
go
how much
camping
wood
with
I
that. You'll
chop
ruin
down. Thank you.
it. But see, you're being camp right now, and it's okay because now it's okay to do that in media, and I love that. I'm glad the media has progressed, and it's okay to be funny and also be known as still serious enough to, appreciate and not just be comedy all the way.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why I have 2 wigs on.
Yeah.
Camp.
What I just explained was literally the definition of Nathan. There you go.
Nathan is a
That's
camp
me.
individual.
I'm camp.
Just
That's
camp.
me. That's my aesthetic.
All camp all the time.
I do
Bruno
want to point
Campos.
out the cast. I do want to point out the cast list, which is the one point of it. I just like they did the tarot cardness of it, explaining who they are and what they are. But the thing that made me really excited and kind of answered a question for me was when they said, Doctor Strange is the leader for now, because we all know in the solicits that Death of Doctor Strange is coming. So I don't know if this is going to end before that, but I'm like, if Death of Doctor Strange is coming and he's, dying, how is he going to be the leader of Defenders? And it says for now. So I'm like, oh, well, maybe he happens in the middle of this run and he dies.
Yeah, I had thought he had already died. I was like, he must be back.
I believe what it says is Cloud, Harpy, the Silver Surfer, the Masked Raider, and the Sorcerer Supreme. The card mantle does not say Doctor Strange, whereas the others are referred to by name. He is referred to by a position. And I do believe that we have a number of able, willing, and capable magicians who can either sub in for now or play the new Sorcerer Supreme. I mean, I would love it if Jericho could do an arc in here because he's fucking hot. I would love it if Billy could find a hot minute to come and cuddle up. Maybe my beautiful Damien could come and have some, cutter problems. Whatever he wants to do, he's Damien and I love him. So it's me and Patsy all the way. Yeah, no, it's the two of it. We got it. We can fix him. So that's my thoughts on it.
Nice. I was actually, that would actually got to my next kind of combining question is like, who would you want to take Doctor Strange's place? So Nico answered that. Steven, you're on the spot. You answer that now.
Yeah, I watched Dr. Voodoo back in the job. I didn't think he got a fair shake at it the first time. I was reading New Avengers when it was coming out, the very first volume of New Avengers, and I was very excited by the direction that was going, and then the moment it slammed into a wall with the heroic age, and it never recovered.
And that very mediocre Remender arc.
Yeah,
I haven't read it. I don't like that guy.
Yeah,
so
it's fair. It's fair. Well, I do agree that Dr. Voodoo should get it.
I think so.
Yep.
Nathan,
Nathan, come on, Nathan.
Okay, so I'm trying not to say my obvious answer. Duh, you guys know I'm going to say Amanda Sefton, but that's unrealistic.
God.
But like,
I thought you were going to say honestly,
Karma.
Amanda, actually, no.
Say Dazzler.
Dazzler, Karma, Amanda Sefton. There, I said them all this episode.
Amanda wouldn't be a bad choice.
She wouldn't because
she's random, and all these characters are kind of random. So I get it.
She is.
Random should not be the Sorcerer Supreme.
Random should not be the Sorcerer
Random should not. No.
I would love to see more realistically like Talisman or Shaman from Alpha Flight Land take over the role. If you can't have Jericho, do it, because I know they probably won't give him the role back because they've already had him do it before. So
I also noticed that the Darkhold event is going to take place at the same time as Death of Doctor Strange, and it does make me wonder if perhaps Wanda might be getting a bit of a promotion, and I would love to see Wanda come in.
What was that?
That's how I like to say her name when she's being all highfalutin, right? Because like most of the time she's like Wanda, you know what I mean? But like when she's being important and like fucking up reality, she's Wanda.
May I throw out a small prediction here that has to do with some other Al Ewing properties?
Are we gonna vote? Hold on, let's vote. He asked. So I'm for it. Is anybody else for it?
I'm for it.
I'm for it. Okay.
So
Okay. So you can because we voted yes.
Consensus. All right. I appreciate it.
It's a democracy.
Yes. So the Darkhold is open. We know this. There's high levels of magic going on in Mount Wundagore. All of this is happening. The death of Doctor Strange is happening. We all think of Wanda, or at least some of us do. Some of us who were not obsessed with Avengers annuals growing up. I think the High Evolutionary has the Darkhold in his castle on Wundagore. We have seen him recently in an Al Ewing book. He's been in space, hanging out in Cordyceps Jones's place.
Yeah.
I think he is keeping an eye on all this intergalactic intrigue. I think that he is keeping an eye on Dormammu erupting out of Ego the Living Planet. And I think that he has the Darkhold and is up to something nasty. Maybe he even killed Wanda. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know about that one.
I love all
everything. I'm sure he did not kill Wanda. I don't think he was at the gala.
Lockjaw might have killed Wanda.
Wanda's a mutant still.
Wanda owed Lockjaw some money, and he came to collect during the Hellfire Gala, and he just started beating her to death with the tuning fork, and that was it.
Yeah.
Hopefully he didn't bring D-Man along because that would be sad.
That's what happened. And then the second Inhumans versus X-Men is going to happen soon. And then
oh god,
Don't
not
say
again.
that.
Please.
Shut your
The
mouth.
online community cannot
Shut up.
like, oh, the Inhumans weren't that bad. They were fucking trying to kill all the mutants with their fucking Terrigen Mist.
the Cloud is going to come back and it's only going to be Uncle Krakoa.
No,
No.
Cloud, but but we're talking about a different Cloud, okay?
Manifest that
Cloud.
out of the air, Rod, please.
You take that back. Okay.
If I had to go through Emma Frost being a villain one more time, like,
Look, it took me like a minute and a half to pull myself
so many
up.
trials of Magneto. I don't need any more Emma being a villain. I don't need any more trials of Magneto after this one.
No. So we said, Nathan, who did you say?
Stressing me out.
I think he said not. He said Talisman and Shaman.
Talisman, Shaman. Okay.
Jimmy
Yes.
Zarzos, and then Talisman and
okay.
Shaman.
So I would
Jermaine.
want.
Why do I call it Jermaine?
I would want. She just had a one shot, and in the one shot, if you read it, yeah, Nico got it. If she says she's gonna come back soon, so I'm like, if she's gonna come back soon, then I want it to be. I looked it up. She's gonna be I don't know how. I'm gonna say this so wrong. Kushala. Is it
Kushala?
Kushala.
She's
Yeah.
so fucking cool.
She deserves to be
Pretty
the next
cool.
Sorcerer Supreme. Like, she can come back to our reality, like come back to this time and take over for Doctor Strange, because what is he doing? He's
He's
doing
dying.
anything great.
He's busy. He's busy being dead.
It's gonna be because Wanda's gonna give her crazy Darkhold powers. It's gonna be Jan Van Dyne.
Oh god.
Like that's for real one shot. So like,
I don't.
Seriously, there's a Darkhold Wasp.
There is. Then that looks fun.
Cool.
That looks cool. No, I'm excited to read that. I don't want her to be.
I don't want her to be the Sorcerer Supreme.
No,
I don't
no,
want.
no,
I love Janet. I love Janet,
no,
but I
I know.
don't want her to be.
Guys, I'm trying to sleep that out of existence.
No.
I don't want it to happen.
No, I love Jan, but no. But yeah.
No,
I also-
she can
I
lead
like
the
the-
Avengers. She can't be the Sorcerer Supreme.
And also, to be a little controversial, I still don't want Wanda to be Sorcerer Supreme.
No, I don't
That's
either.
fine. I don't want it either.
I don't think
She doesn't need it.
Yeah.
she doesn't need
very
it.
divisive.
I don't think she wants that role. I don't think her character benefits from that role.
I don't think
agree.
she'd do a good job of it. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think
Doctor
she did.
Strange is very reckless, but Wanda is also extremely
Yeah,
reckless.
so,
So-
She just made a whole island of plant zombies recently, or zombies and plants.
And
I would
she
like-
just bamfed away. Like she didn't even go back and
Yeah,
fix
she's
it.
like, I gotta go.
Doctor Strange, can you fix this 30 days later?
Rod, you said something really, in your question, you framed it really, really intelligently. Like, and the question was your statement, your opinion. You framed it really well of like, controversy opinion. I don't want it, but like, I really agree. There's this quote that after they knighted Sir Elton John for his work with the British Crown, I forget who it was, but a commentator replied, "That's weird. Sounds like a demotion to me, because isn't he usually a queen?" Right? And that's how I sort of feel about Wanda becoming Sorcerer Supreme. Once she's Sorcerer Supreme, she's the eye roll in most of the crossover events. She becomes that person who shows up and we all say, no, they should be fucking doing something. But if it's Wanda, you never know if she's just sitting around going, oh, look, a baby. Another baby. Another baby.
Oh, you used to be somebody's hand.
Another baby.
not another baby. Oh my god.
And she wouldn't be able to do that if she was the Sorcerer Supreme. I see no reason for
She
the
shouldn't do that
Sorcerer
anyway.
So Queen to take the demotion.
Yeah. Yes. I don't
A baby.
I don't want her to make babies like that anyway.
I think she's quite over that. It's been.
I
quite a
hope
while.
so. I think she's over that. I
think she's well over it.
I hope she doesn't go. Maybe the dark hole makes her go back to it. Hopefully not. but
like, in comics they don't age, so she's still like 25
no,
maybe in comics.
No, she has to be at least like 35.
No, because the X-Men are like
she's on Social
30.
Security.
No,
So,
Jean is like 30 years old right now. She's at least
Jean's pushing 40, so is Cyclops.
Jean was 24 when she died in Dark Phoenix.
Okay, then yeah,
so, like,
she's at least like 35, maybe almost 40.
They're in the upper 30s.
Guys, I literally forgot we were talking about Defenders.
I know.
Sorry.
No, I'm
but like,
thrilled.
It's only been 10 years since X-Men 1.
No, but like this goes into Defenders, except for maybe they're not gonna put any mutants in Defenders because mutants have their own thing. But this goes into Defenders because literally anyone could join this team, and that's kind of what my next final question was gonna be. Was if you could pick one character to surprisingly show up and help them for whatever reason, pick a character we haven't seen in a while. Yeah, if you could pick one character we haven't seen in a while, I'm making it harder for you. Who would you pick for like one issue, maybe two?
So predictable.
What character?
Okay, I mean, I was gonna say
go use your
I was gonna say Elektra as Daredevil.
He's predictable
because I love Elektra as Daredevil.
Okay.
Daredevil usually appears, but I like your request of make it somebody a little less expected. And in that regard, I know he got some mad love from Al Ewing, as a matter of fact. So I would love to see Stick show up in the pages of Defenders. He's always got some Maddie, I've been holding out against the end of the world by myself for the last 40 years kind of thing going on. So I feel like that would be a great opportunity for him to be like, Strange, you suck. And like that would be his, that's all he needs to bring. So
I would love to see I'm so predictable Monica Rambeau because honestly, like Ewing writes Monica amazingly. Yeah. Monica's OP as hell, like fit right in with the team.
And where is she?
Yeah. And she was just on WandaVision and we don't have her in comics anywhere.
Nowhere.
I do love that you managed to get her in.
I've said all of them, so like I'm done.
Very nice.
Cat's eye. Okay, there we go. I said everyone.
What about you, Steven? Who would you pick?
Oh, sorry, I lost the connection there for a second.
You're good.
So I had to cast my mind back because my first thought was Namor, but we see him all the time. So I don't know if this is somebody that we haven't seen in a while, but it's somebody I haven't seen in a while because I've only been rereading Jason Aaron's Doctor Strange recently. But what if Zelda Stanton came back?
Yeah.
Zelda Stanton from the Bronx.
Yeah.
I would like her to come back and fulfill sort of like a Rick Jones position for this team because my boy Rick Jones is in hell forever, it seems.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I haven't that poor guy.
Yeah.
Night Nurse.
Oh man, I worry about him all the time. Night Nurse would be fantastic. I don't know what Zelda Stanton has been doing. I don't know what happened in the 2018 series of Doctor Strange, but I would love to see the librarian come back, especially since she was on a path to sorceress.
She's in Strange Academy.
Oh, is she good?
Yeah,
I've been missing out on that.
She's a librarian and kind of the co-headmaster, kind of.
Gotta go read it. We cover it. Cool. It is one of those things that I was like, let's just cover because it's cute. And then we wound up getting a ton of feedback on it, and it was all really positive. And then we got a piece of feedback on it that was, hey guys, I'm Scotty Young. I really like your guys' takes on it. I'd love to talk about it. And Scotty Young loved their coverage of Strange Academy so much, he came on the show to talk to them about it. So I can't stress how cool Strange Academy is, if for no other reason the creative team actually cares about what the fans think.
Yep.
And it has reflected in the title. So don't miss Strange Academy.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I don't want her to leave the school. Like, Strange can go away.
Absolutely.
But I don't want her to leave school. But that was a good choice, though. But
what
I don't want her to leave
school. What academy is it going to be then if it's not Strange Academy?
I mean, he's barely there anyway. He can be a Marner when he dies and be named after him because he's dead.
I guess
that's true.
The Jean Grey school was named after Jean Grey when she was dead.
She was
like,
different time.
But Rod, who's your call? I mean, like,
I was waiting. So I was waiting for y'all to be done. It's like y'all. I asked, so you know. So my pick, I'm kind of piggybacking off what Nathan said. Not picking Monica, but another person of color that Al Ewing has wrote beautifully, and we haven't ever see him ever, even though he's basically, not to mention another character, basically the Superman of Marvel, even though
Her boyfriend
and super smart is Blue Marvel. Where is Blue Marvel? And Blue Marvel would be perfect for this because he never really deals with magic, and it would show us a magic side with science with this.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, and then the
Yeah,
Masked
good
Raider
idea.
deals with like science too, right? But with magic and it, like the time travelness and all that and all the science stuff. So he would bring a good perspective that none of them probably know. So
Yeah.
it really works.
With Blue Marvel, you get the best parts of Hyperion and Nighthawk, and I feel like that's the kind of OPAF you need on a Defenders book.
Yeah,
bring them both in. Blue Marvel
both
and
in.
Spectrum. Yeah.
Where are they?
They're so cute together too. Oh my god!
If
I love them.
any one man writing for Marvel right now, if any one person writing for Marvel right now was going to do that, it would be Al Ewing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I will say this again and again on every. I don't care how repetitive it gets. I will say this on every recording we do. It makes no sense that Monica and Blue Marvel are nowhere to be seen with how powerful they are. It makes absolutely no freaking sense, and that's my soapbox.
My soapbox is, why do I have a Wanda and a Vision and I don't have a freaking Monica on the show? But like, yeah.
I believe
I think she's coming. It's just taking time. I think they're waiting till she gets her official costume in the Marvels.
The Marvels, okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that was good. I liked all y'all choices. My choice was the best with Nathan.
No, my choice was the best.
Me and Nathan had the best choices.
All right, guys, let's just fix it. Squirrel Girl, we're done.
Okay, where is Squirrel Girl?
I don't know.
She's gone too.
I need more Doreen every day of my life.
I mean, she can beat Thanos. She could probably beat Galactus's mom. Like, why not?
I don't think we want to beat Galactus's mom. I think we're working with Galactus's mom.
Yeah, I think we're working with.
Why? I don't understand why this got so.
I don't know.
Everybody, let's do some matricide.
Hey,
yeah,
why does Galactus's mom only speak in scare quotes? Can we address that? I thought that was hilarious and weird. It's just like, hey, I got to put a typing quirk on this character. What would Galactus's mom talk like? Well, she would always talk like this. Very strange.
Very Doctor Strange.
It's where Galactus gets his, very, holier than thou speaking. That he gets it from his mother. So
he gets it from his mom.
Yeah. She talks like a cop to me. I'm just like,
it's a carryover, old English. This is like old universe English.
Yeah, old universe English where everything is shocking.
Ye olden devourer shall devour yon planet.
Yeah, where
and
she's like, oh, so you're space-time hobos? And they're like, we didn't say space-time. You said space-time hobos.
Well, you lose the meaning of air quotes.
Guys, I feel like that has to be the end of
the end.
Oh, God.
Hey guys, if you like that cut from X's4 Podcast, you'll be sure to like some of our other materials. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out these other amazing videos here at X's4 Podcast.